Hi everyone, so in this video we are going to create our data source, which is actually going to call our flow designer action. Okay, so we are going to get the data, for example the historical data and also the coin details. So we are going to write a script because the type of the data source is going to be load by script. So let's go here in this sheet to data source load by script. I'm going to write our script here. So same thing that we have done for the previous one. I'm going to have all the kind of visual representation, the logic, and then we are going to write here our script. So the first thing what we are going to do is we are going to take the code snippet that we have in Flow Designer. Okay, let's go to Flow Designer. This is the action that we have created, and if you click on the three dots that you have here, click on code snippet. This is the code that we have to use. So we don't need the entire code. All we need is this part from what we have in the try let's say variable here. So you have to use this one. Okay, so I have already here all the code. So I'm going to just take this entire code snippet. Let's say I'm going to put it here. And one more thing, make sure that you have your action published, otherwise you cannot use it in your data source. So here what we have, we have for example the input variable, and it is empty for now. Inputs coin ID, we have nothing, and we are calling the flow designer action with our input. And then we get some outputs. Okay, we have coin object and then coin array A, B, C, D until H. Okay, so we know that we have to use this action 8 times. Okay, we cannot just call it once and it is done. We have to call 8 times. We have to use this code 8 times. So how we are going to do that? So we can have a for loop. Okay, each time when we are running the for loop, we will have a different input. We're gonna have for the first time 1, second time 13, third time another number. So these are the coin ID. Okay, so before creating our for loop, the first thing what I'm going to do, I'm going to define all my coins here. So I have it here. Sorry, so I have var bitcoin equal to 1, var dash equal to 13, and then so on. So I'm going to take this code, copy, and then put it in my code here. Okay, so I'm defining all my coins. Then I'm going to create an array which is going to be var coins array, and it will have one array inside and it will contain all the coins. So here I have the visual representation. So this is the coin array, for example, and at the position coins 0 0 I will have my bitcoin, and then so on 01 dash 02 decreed, and then so on. So I'm going to just take the code that we have here. Let me check if I put it. Okay, let's go and then take this code and then paste it here. Okay, so I have some sort of problem now. Let's see what's going on here, why I don't have the entire code. All right, yes, now I have it. Okay, so now I'm gonna have my for loop. So for var a equal to 0, a smaller than 8 because we have 8 coins, a plus plus. Okay, I'm gonna have the entire code inside. Okay, so I'm gonna run 8 loops, and here I'm gonna have here coins brackets brackets. And you know, if I do 0 0 I'm gonna get bitcoin, and 0 1 I'm gonna get dash. So the first value that I'm going to have in the first bracket, it's going to be always 0. For all coins we have 0. The only thing which is changing is the what we have in the second bracket. So if you want, you can look one more time this table, and you can see 0 0 it's bitcoin, 0 1 it is dash. Okay, and then 0 2 is decreed. So so here I'm gonna have the variable a, because we know a is increasing from 0 to 7. So we can have all the coins like this, and we will send this as an input. It will call the flow designer action, and then we will get the outputs for that coin. one thing that I want to mention here, you can see here the comment here is integer, int, right? If you go to Flow Designer, open here, click on code snippet, you have int. I've just copied the code and put it there. But the thing when you're creating your data source, when you put this code into your data source, and if you put a value like, let's say I'm putting 1, like the number, it is not working. It is not calling, and you have to put like this, like into quotation. For some reason it should be, I guess, a string. If you put just a number, it should work, but it is not working. So I have to like change it as a string here. So I'm gonna type another code here, syntax, which is actually going to change the value into a string. So I'm going to do like this: coins 0a dot toString parentheses semicolon. It is actually going to change the value that we are going to have here as a string. And now the code in your data source, it will not fail. You can test it if you want. Okay, that's something that I would like to mention here. So now we're gonna have all the data here for all our coins, but now we have to know how we are going to take the data from these objects and put it into our staging table. For that, the first thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to create a historical price array, which will contains all my arrays, array A, B, C, D, everything. Okay, so I'm gonna take the code that I have here first. Okay, copy and then put it here. Then I'm going to create this historical array, historical price array. So which I have it here, historical price, coin array A, B, C, D, and then so on. I'm gonna just copy everything and put it here. And it should come here, because you should put it here, not in the beginning, because these values, while coins are A, B, it's only defined at this point. It's not defined here. So this code should come after. So we are defining, like we are putting all these coins array A, B, C, everything together into like one big array, okay, which contains all these arrays. Now let's go here. I'm gonna write a for loop. Okay, let's imagine that we are retrieving data for Bitcoin, for one coin, and then we'll see how we are going to do for other coins. So let's say this is Bitcoin, okay, and this value should be 119. Okay, the length is 120. So I'm gonna have the first for loop, which is going to run for var I equal to 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 until 7. And then for var I equal to 0, I'm gonna have another loop, which is going to be j equal to 0, and then it is going until 244, because the length that I have is 245. Okay, we know already the length of our arrays. Okay, we are not defining it here. We know those values, we have it here. Okay, that's one thing. So, and our arrays, it's not empty, we have time and price inside. Okay, time and price for each cell, they have time and price. So by writing to for loop, we can exactly access this part of the cell. Okay, this entire big array, historical price array, we're gonna use it in a for loops to access this particular memory to take the time and price. Okay, it is exactly the same logic that we have used before in our REST request. I mean, when we were parsing a response to access those values and then get those values from the history array. So the same thing that we are doing here. Okay, so I'm going here, and then I'm gonna write my first for loop var I'm gonna have I equal to 0, I smaller than what? Historical price dot length. Okay, I want to run the loop for this length for 8 times. right? Because we have 8 arrays. Then I'm going to do okay, here I plus plus. Okay, what's going on? Up. Then I'm going to have my second loop. It's going to be var j equal to 0, j smaller than what? I should have the length of my coins array A. So the first thing to do is to know how we can access this particular array from historical price. So all I need to do is to type historical price brackets and brackets. Okay, we know if we are doing, let's go back here, 0 0 is going to be coin array A, 1 0 is going to be coin array B. So I'm gonna have here the second value is going to be always 0, so I'm going to put that on here, but the first value can be 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, okay, which is I in our case here. So that's it. So we do that, and then what we want is the length for that specific array. Okay, so and then I do j plus plus. So let me just go here. I think I have something wrong here. Okay, this one I'm closing it here. So let's make sure that we have proper curly brackets here. So this one is this for this one, this one is for this one, and this one is for this one. Great. So now what we are going to do is we are going to create our objects. Specifically, I'm going to call it map object, which is actually going to insert all the values. I mean, not insert, we will prepare, like we will collect the object and we will have in a certain fields, and then we will insert later into our staging table. So let's do that. So that's going to be our next part here down below. And I'm going to just copy the entire code that we have here up. Okay, and I'm going to write my code here. So I'm creating a map object, and inside I'm going to have everything. So let me just write the first example how we are going to get some data. So I'm going to have u underscore id, and then here I'm going to have coin object. Okay, I'm going to use this one, coin object dot id, so I can get the id. So I can do the same in order to get all other information. So if you look at carefully what we have here in this object, we have id, name, slug, website URL, all this kind of information. So I have it already here, so I'm going to just take that part and then put it here up. Okay, it is okay. I was putting semicolon, it's not semicolon, it's just a comma. So the next thing, these are the coin details. So we are using this object. Okay, then the main thing that we want is the time and the price. Okay, so let's get that as well. Okay, so let me just finish with this one. Let's arrange everything. Okay, now Okay, it's some way, I'm sorry for this. Okay, now we are going to take the data for, we are going to have our price and the time. So I'm gonna write the same way, u underscore price. Okay, this time we are going to use our historical price array in order to access, for example, coin array A. So I'm going to type here historical price to twice. I'm going to have what I should, for the first loop I should have coins array A, right? So I'm gonna have here I and then 0. In this way I can get A, right? Then I'm going to have another brackets. So once I access A, coins array A, the length is 245, and we will have J will be equal to 0, but it will go from 0 to 1 2 3 4 5 until 244. So I'm gonna have here J. So this is how I'm accessing basically the historical price, that specific cell that we actually saw, this one. Okay, and then it is not done, so let's go back here, let's finish. So dot price, okay, and then comma. So we are going to do the same thing to get the timestamp. So let's go here, I have it here, I'm gonna just take it from here up and then put the timestamp here. So we have created our object which will contain all the data that we need. Okay, it will go, okay, I have a problem. Okay, so we have our map object, we have all the let's say all the information that we need, and we are storing it. Okay, right, we are creating an object which has all the values, and then we have to insert this object, I mean create fields in our staging table, and which will have all these values. For that I'm going to use this specific syntax, which is import underscore set underscore table dot insert, and then I'm gonna have here the map object. So I'm gonna just take this code and put it exactly right here after the map object. So in this way, once we are on that specific cell, okay, we get the data, okay, we have our map object, immediately we do an insert. So for the first loop we are going to do 245 insert. For the second loop, same thing. Third loop, same thing. We will go until the end, which is the coin array H loop, and we will do for 120 times. In total, we are going to get for 1825 elements, 1025 inserts we're gonna have in our staging table. Okay, so this is good for Bitcoin. Okay, but it is not good for any other coin. If you take Bitcoin SV, we don't need as many arrays actually, so it's going to stop at a certain moment. We need actually how many, I guess for these coins, for the last three coins, we just need 5 arrays. Okay, so we don't need 8, and same way for other coins like Chainlink, we just need 6. Only for Bitcoin and Dash and Decred we need 8 arrays. So now let's see how we can modify a little bit our code in order to just use the arrays that we need. Okay, now we don't need all arrays. So let's go a little bit here, and I'm going to show you what we are going to do. The first thing, what we know, if you look at the code carefully, historical price dot length, it is always the same. If you calculate, I mean if you take the value, if you just look for the value, what is the length, historical price, it has 8 elements, so it's going to be always 8 in our loop. Okay, so that's what I have here. Historical price length 8. It is fixed, it is there, right? And here I have historical price length expected. Okay, what we expect to have as length, because depending on the coin that we have, the length is not the same. So I'm going to put the length here. So if it is Bitcoin, I want 8. If it is Dash, I want 8. If it is Decreed, I want 8. But if it is Binance coin, I don't need 8 arrays, I need only 6. Okay, so I'm gonna have 6 as well for Chainlink. If it is Bitcoin Cash or SV or Cosmos, it is going to be 5, right? 5 and then 5 here. So now the question, how I can move from this value to this value depending on the coin that I have. Okay, so if I have Bitcoin Cash, I should not have this value for historical price length, but instead I should have this value. So here is a simple calculation, it's a subtraction. Okay, if you want to move from here to from 8 to 5, all you need to do is to subtract with 3. So 8 minus 3, I'm going to get 5. So I'm going to have 3 here, I'm going to have 3 here, and here I'm going to have 2, I'm going to have 2, and here I'm going to have 0, 0, 0. So what I'm doing here, I'm going to have a variable called x, which will contain these values that I'm going to use in my code. So here I'm going to just take historical length, which I have already, which is in my code, okay, defined, minus that specific variable which will contain all these values. So I'm going to have here x, that's the variable. Okay, but x var x, I should send these values. How I can assign these values to this specific variable x? So for that, what I'm going to do, I'm going to take all these values, create another array in my coins array. So if you remember, in the beginning we have coins array which has only the coins. I'm going to have a second one which is going to have these values. So I'm going to have here 0, 0, 0, 2, 2, and then 3 here, 3, 3, and then the last one is going to be 3 as well. So this is going to be for the endless one. So if you want to access this specific value, what you should do, it's coin 1 0 and then 1 1 1 2 1 3 1 4 and then so on. So x will be equal to coins brackets brackets, the first value is going to be always 1. Okay, the second value is going to change from 0 to 7, which is actually, if you take the loop, the variable what we will have in the variable a, right? So I'm going to just replace, I'm going to put here a. That's it. So we can use this specific syntax. We're going to create this variable var x equal to coins on a, which will have each time the value that we want. So if we have as input Bitcoin in our loop, so we're going to run the loop, and let's say the coins ID we are sending here 1, okay, and it's going to run, it's going to execute, okay, for Bitcoin. It's going to get the data, and here it will come at this point, okay. I'm going to have var x equal to coins, okay, brackets brackets, and then that will be equal to 1. Here I'm gonna have a this, so when here a will be equal to 0, we have Bitcoin, and then 1 0, it is the value is 0. That's what we have here. So x will be equal to 0, right? So all I need to do from there, if x is equal to 0, I'm gonna just do here minus x, okay, historical price minus x, which is 8 minus 0. That's what we have here in this specific place, okay. So for Bitcoin it's going to be 0, for Dash is going to be 0, for Decree is going to be 0. I'm going to have 8 minus 0, I'm going to get 8. But for other coins, let's say for Cosmos, same logic. Let's say I'm in the end of the loop, okay, so a will be equal to 7, and coins So I will have here Cosmos as coin is going to execute the action. I'm going to get the all the outputs. Then here where we have coins 1 7, okay, which is this one, okay. And for 1 7, the value that I'm going to have in X, it is going to be 3. That's what I have defined, okay. And it is, and then if that is 3, I'm going to have historical price dot length minus 3, which is going to be 5. So it's going to have only number 5 as length here, okay. So this is how we are actually defining the length for in our loop. So before we forget, just let's add this these values here. So I have it here, I guess. Oh, I don't have it anywhere. So you have to make sure that you add this array. So I'm gonna just add it now. Okay, so brackets, the first one 0 comma 0 0, and then we have 2 2, and then we have 3 times 3. Okay, so we should have 8. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. So this is what you should have here. So all the values that we have here: 3 times 0, 2 times 2, 3 times 3. That's it. So we have our code now. So in the next video, what we are going to do, we are going to just take this code, put it in our data source, and load our data and see if we are going to have all the data into our staging table. So see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.